People who talk about their mental struggles aren't attention seeking, they're support seeking. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we are all about shattering the mental health stigma. If you haven't already, please make sure you make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button. Give the bell a few kisses so you're not missing any of this content designed to help you with your mental health or help you help someone else. Today I'm going to be reacting to One by Metallica. Yes, yet another Metallica song that I have never heard because I just wasn't really exposed to them when I was younger. And I feel like there are certain artists that I've done here on the channel, Metallica being one of them, that if I listen to new songs that I've never heard outside of the channel, it would just make me feel icky, like I was cheating on you guys, and I don't want to do that. I want to share this experience with you. So this wasn't a Patreon request, just something that you guys had requested a lot here in the comments. But if you haven't had a chance to check out my Patreon, please make sure to do so. Every single dime goes toward my mental health outreach so I can help people here in the community with their mental health needs, and you get some pretty amazing perks like priority song requests, Zoom calls with me every single month, behind the scenes stuff, and so much more. So make sure to check that out. Link is in the description. But here we go with One by Metallica.
The cerebrum has suffered massive and irreparable damage.
You never know what has happened to him.
Had I not been sure of this, I would not have permitted him to live.
Where?
Father?
What happened?
I need help.
What is democracy? What is democracy?
Got something to do with young men killing each other.
When it comes my turn, will you want me to go?
For democracy, any man would give his only begotten son.
It is impossible for a decerebrated individual to experience pain, pleasure, memory, dreams, or thought of any kind. This young man will be as unfeeling, as unthinking as the dead until the day he joins them.
I don't know whether I'm alive and dreaming or dead and remembering. How can you tell what's a dream and what's real when you can't even tell when you're awake and when you're asleep? Where am I?
I can't remember anything. Can't tell if this is true or a dream. Deep down inside I feel the scream. This terrible silence stops in there. Now that the war is through with me, I'm waking up, I cannot see that there's not much left of me. Nothing is real but pain now. Hold my breath as I wish for death. Oh please God, wake me.
I just went ahead and chopped off everything. Oh God, please make them hear me. They won't listen. They won't hear me.
I'll wake me up, I'll be like this for years.
Hear me.
Back in the
There is so much anxiety just in hearing his thoughts, hearing his narration to this. But there are babies here, James. It's just a baby here. So that was kind of a little bit of lightheartedness in this. But I feel like the framing of democracy and war and sacrifice is so much different when it's a child posing these questions. And the son's inquiry, I assume it was his son in the beginning, reflects a questioning of authority and government policies regarding war and military service. And I feel like that line in there about now that the war is done with me is just that reflection of how many soldiers feel disposable. They feel like they're just tossed aside as soon as they have served their purpose, and that always breaks my heart. But this also suggests a skepticism toward the decisions made by those in power, right? I think that the child leading with that really promotes that skepticism, but it also raises important ethical considerations about justifications of war and a person's role in participating in or resisting military conflict. I feel like oftentimes people are pressured for different reasons to do that, and it might not be what they want in the case. This obviously is pretty old, so in this case it could have been drafting and the ethics of that, but I think that the lyrics are conveying this profound sense of despair and disconnection, which are really common experiences for people that have experienced anxiety, depression, and PTSD, which is what this is obviously depicting here, is the PTSD from war. And there was a line that said, "I can't remember anything, can't tell if this is a dream or if this is real, or this is a dream or this is true," I think is what it was. And I think that that suggests dissociation, which is the inability to distinguish reality from a nightmare or from feeling like you're dead, you're dying, whatever the case is. I've experienced that, and it's terrifying. And it's not in the sense of hallucinations that you can't tell the difference between reality and not, though that can play into it too in some cases, some more extreme cases. But it's just a feeling of, I can see that this is my office, I could see that these are my hands, but it doesn't feel real to me. None of this feels real to me. And I get that when my anxiety peaks, but I imagine it's much worse for someone who's seen these horrors, who's experienced clearly these very intense injuries. They were also talking about the scream deep inside and this terrible silence, and that's someone feeling trapped. And here he's obviously physically trapped within himself and unable to express, but I think there's also a mental aspect of that soldiers feel when they feel like they can't express themselves. They're screaming in silence. They're the homeless person that we walk by on the street that's screaming out, and nobody is even giving them any attention. I think that all of us can relate to that silent scream, that inside silent scream in some way, but I think it's a whole different level when it comes to our veterans, unfortunately.
Back in the womb, it's much too real. In Pump's life that I must feel, but can't look forward to reveal. Look to the time when I live, head to the tube that sticks in me, just like a wartime novelty, tied to machines that make me be. Cut this life off from me, hold my breath as I wish for dear. Oh please God, wake me.
It's like a piece of meat that keeps on living. It won't always be like this, will it?
I can't live like this. I can't. Please, no, I can't. I can't. Help me. Somebody please help me. Mother, where are you? Help me, Mother. I'm having a nightmare and I can't wake up.
Now the world is gone, I'm just one. Oh God, help me. Hold my breath as I wish for dear. Oh please God, help me.
You can get on to me. I will rewind there so we can get into what sounds like it's going to be a guitar solo, but my heart's racing. I'm feeling anxiety right now just from hearing this narration. And it's super difficult to hear that desperation being expressed like that. But there was this escalation from wake me to help me, which I think is almost, unfortunately, an acceptance of their fate, but not in the sense of, okay, I'm coming to terms with this and I'm going to try to make the best I can of the situation. I don't know how extensive his injuries are. Clearly, he can still move in some capacity. I don't know if he's locked in and can't express himself. I haven't really figured that out through the lyrics or whatever, but the desire for relief is intensifying, the shock's wearing off here. The phrase that started here, back in the womb, it's much too real, I think suggests that desire to retreat from the realities of life, the realities of this trauma, into a state of safety or oblivion, like they felt back in the womb, like we have in the womb. There's just that safety, there's that oblivion. We don't have any consciousness yet. So the reference to life being pumped into the person, which they must feel, I think, highlights the burden of existence that this person is now feeling. Existence to them is a burden. And I know for those of us that have struggled with mental health challenges, we felt that it's just, oh my gosh, existence is exhausting. I actually have a shirt that says exhausted by existence, but I feel like existence can be so exhausting and we just don't know how to get out of that. But when it's physical, when there's physical injuries or when there is chronic pain, it adds a whole different layer to that. I think the line, but can't look forward to reveal, I think is what it said, reflects the sense of hopelessness and dread about the future because they're unable to see anything positive ahead. Again, I don't know the extent of his injuries, but clearly he's not seeing any healing. He's not seeing any options ahead. And, you know, this video is depicting the soldier's loss of autonomy and identity and becoming trapped within his own body, unable to communicate or interact with people in the outside world, which again is an experience that can definitely be physical and mental, particularly for soldiers. But I just think that there's so much fear. Like I said, that was giving me anxiety because I have this fear of lock-in. I have this huge fear of things like anesthesia or becoming paralyzed in any way because I'm afraid of being trapped in my body and not being able to communicate with people, because I know what it's like to stand in the middle of a crowded room and scream at people and feel like you're not getting through to anybody, to keep trying to communicate and feel like you're not getting through to people, like they just don't understand you, like they're not hearing you. But to actually have that physically happen is a whole different mental hell, and I can't imagine it at all.
Me lying here like some freak in a carnival show.
He is the armless, legless wonder of the 20th century.
This has a dignity all its own.
Father, I need help. I'm in terrible trouble and I need help.
Don't you remember when you were little? How you and Bill Harper would string a wire between the two houses so you could telegraph to each other? You'll remember the Morse code?
Imprisoning me, all that I see, absolute horror. I cannot live, I cannot die, trapped in myself, body my only cell.
It's Morse code. For what? SOS. Help.
Landmine has taken my sight, taken my speech, taken my hearing, taken my arms, taken my legs, taken my soul, left me with life in hell.
What's he saying? He says, kill me. Over and over again. Kill me.
Don't you have some message for him, Padre? He's the product of your profession, not mine.
There we go. There it is.
Kill me. I'm asking you to kill me. Thank you.
Each man faces death by himself. Alone.
Goodbye, Father. Inside me, I'm screaming. Nobody pays any attention. If I had arms, I could kill myself. If I had legs, I could run away. If I had a voice, I could talk and be some kind of company for myself. Why don't they get it over with and kill me? I could yell for help, but nobody'd help me. I've just got to do something. see how I can go on like this.
There was a part of me that was just telling myself, Amanda, don't cry. You cannot cry to every Metallica video you ever hear. But it was internalizing a lot. There was a lot of just anxious energy. It's really hard to even speak right now because my mouth's really dry from it. Let's go back to the beginning of the video for a minute, because I think by including that dialogue between the father and son, Metallica is really prompting us to engage. I think I'm going to be having anxiety about this video for a bit. But I think they're really prompting us to engage in critical thinking about the implications of war and the responsibilities of citizen, and of course, the treatment of, or unfortunately the lack of treatment of, in many cases, of our veterans. He's saying, I can't live, I can't die. He can't kill himself, and that's obviously difficult for him because he doesn't even have control over that, and he's trapped inside himself. He's stuck in this state of limbo, basically, is what it comes down to, unable to move forward, unable to escape from his suffering. So I was hearing arms, legs, sight. So he obviously has very, very extensive injuries, and this is an extreme case. And to be honest, I would not want to be kept alive under circumstances that extreme. I think that there is often a lot of hope that people can't see, and we'll get into that. But if I was in a case where I had no autonomy, no way to move or communicate, and I was just trapped within myself, I don't want to continue like that. Now, I will say that there was a man, Jean-Dominique, what was his name? Jean-Dominique Bobby, I think his name was, and he wrote The Diving Bell and The Butterfly by only blinking. So he had a stroke and he was completely paralyzed, and he ended up with assistance. He could only blink his left eye, and he ended up writing an entire book just through blinks because they were able to figure out what he was saying, and he had someone that could transcribe that for him. So I feel like it sucks to be in this kind of situation, but your story doesn't have to be over. There are a lot of less intense stories of different veterans, of different soldiers. J.R. Martinez is one that comes to mind. He was a former army soldier, and he had hit a landmine. I don't remember where it was, but he'd hit a landmine, and he was severely burned all over his body, and he became an actor. He became a motivational speaker, and he won, I don't know what season, but he won a season of Dancing with the Stars. And I just thought that that was really motivational because he had all of these things working against him and was probably in a lot of pain, was able to still find another side to that. And obviously he couldn't have the story he wanted, but he was able to still write that story. There was Travis, I cannot remember his last name for the life of me, Travis. He was also a veteran, and he had lost, I think he lost functioning in all 4 limbs, and he had gotten blown up by an IED. I think it was in Afghanistan, if I remember correctly. And he started a charity that helps and celebrates, actually, veterans that have had life-changing injuries. So be it loss of limb, severe burns, whatever the case was, paralyzation. He helps them he helps them through activities and stuff to find purpose, to find healing, and he helps their families as well. And he also was a motivational speaker and author. So there are stories. There was the Tammy Duckworth, who she was a veteran. She lost both legs because her helicopter was shot down, and she ended up getting elected to the House and later the Senate. So there's all kinds of success stories. I just wanted to provide some kind of hope. I feel like that's my nature, is I'm going, oh my gosh, this was so full of despair. I'm feeling so much anxiety right now because I feel like this message is just one of so much pain and so much suffering that this person clearly wants to get out of. And I know that there's probably gonna be a lot of veterans watching this that might have experienced life-changing injuries. And I just wanted to balance this a little bit with that perspective. But I think that the lyrics and imagery here really focuses on that despair, that isolation, and the horrors of war. And I think, though, that there's moments here where there's that glimmer of hope amidst the darkness for sure. For example, in the chorus, there's the plea to hold my breath as I wish for death. Now, this might be a little bit of a spicy take on that lyric, but of course it can be interpreted as the desire for the release for suffering, which I think is what was going on here. But I think the mere act of wishing implies a sense of longing for something better, a sense of end from the pain, a sense of desire for purpose. There's wanting something better, suggesting that even in the depths of despair, there is that flicker of hope for change or relief. And ideally, we would want to help them get relief in other means, or help them be able to communicate in other means, help take their pain away. But as I said, I completely understand that if this person is truly locked into their body, can't communicate. Obviously he can communicate through what I'm assuming was blinks or nods or something. So he was communicating in Morse code. So there was some kind of communication, but I don't think that that's on me to make that call, whether or not someone should be kept alive under those conditions. I think that if he was able to communicate his wishes, then those should have been respected and honored, because, again, this is such an extreme example, but I think that there is so much hope out there as well for a lot of people that just don't see it, that might not see it in their own world, in their own viewpoint, because of the pain and the fear that they're feeling, that they just feel such despair, like everything is over. But I really think that I know that I'll never understand. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. He talked very little about what he did and about his experiences there, which I completely understand why. So when I talk about these things here in this video, it's based on the experience of other veterans I've interacted with, like the little bit that I got to have with my dad, Scotty, my friend that I have talked about here a lot in the community. He passed away last year, but he was a veteran. He was also a Vietnam veteran. He talked about his experiences and stuff. So a lot of the narrative that I have about PTSD related to war is from other people, whether here in the community or in my life. So I just want to reiterate that I absolutely don't know. I will never know what this feels like. And I would never try to tell someone who is existing like that they should hold on. But I do think that there is so much that we can't see when we're in that place of suffering. So when we have lost a part of our identity, be that through our limbs or be that through our ability to speak and communicate, when we lose a part of ourselves like that, it can be nearly impossible for us to see the other side. And all I wanted to do was kind of analyze the lyrics, of course, to provide balance to that. But if you are experiencing PTSD and you're struggling, whether you're a veteran or not, but obviously this one had a very heavy tone for veterans, whatever you're experiencing, this is a safe place to talk about that, and hopefully we can point you in the right direction for some assistance. I do have someone here in the community that is a veterans advocate that might be able to help you guys through what you're going through or help connect you to resources. I'm also going to link some resources in the description below, including Travis's organization that I mentioned a couple minutes ago. I do want you guys to know that you're not alone, and although we don't understand on that deep level what it is you've gone through, there are people that care, and I know it can feel like nobody cares, especially if you've been tossed aside by the VA, or if you have been homeless at some point and you've had to watch people just walk by you after you've served for your country, after you put your life on the line for them, and they can't even give you the right time of day. It angers me so much. So I know that you might feel invisible at sometimes. I know that you might feel overwhelmed, but I just want you to know that there are people that care, there are resources available, and we will fight to keep your light on. I love you guys so much. Good, bad, and crazy. Share your stories here in the comments. This is a safe place for everyone. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it. You never know who might need to see it. I love you guys so much.